Hello and welcome to the Moment Podcast, live from 100.3 KMUL The Mule, or you might be watching on YouTube. My name is Rudy, and today I am joined by my co-host Michael. Um, Today we will be listening to the collab album Mount Wittenberg Orca by Björk and Dirty Projectors. If you are currently listening to the radio, stay tuned as we are about to play the full album right after these sponsorships. If you're watching on YouTube or listening to from another platform, I suggest you pause the video and go listen to this album and then come back and listen to our discussion that we'll be getting into shortly. Because we cannot play the full album anywhere else other than our station. So let's get straight into this album. Again, you are about to hear Mount Wittenberg Orca by Björk and Dirty Projectors on the Moment, live from 100.3 KMUL The Mule. And we are back. I hope y'all enjoyed that album because I definitely did. Before we get into discussion, I'm going to give you guys some context about the two artists that collabed on this album and some context behind the album itself. So I will start with Björk. Björk is an Icelandic singer, songwriter, producer, and artist known for her genre-defying music, innovative visuals, and experimental approach to sound. Emerging from the alternative scene in the late 80s and 90s, she became famous for blending electronic pop, classical, and avant-garde styles into something entirely her own. True. Beyond her music, Björk is celebrated for her bold fashion, striking music videos, and boundary-pushing concepts that explore technology, nature, and human emotion. Very cool, very weird lady. I love her music. um, On to Dirty Projectors. This is actually a band led by musician and producer Dave Longstreth. He is known for complex arrangements, shifting rhythms, and layered harmonies. And his band blends elements of rock, R&B, electronic, and orchestral music into a distinctive, artful sound. Over the years, Dirty Projectors have earned a reputation for constantly reinventing their style, pushing the boundaries of what indie music can be while maintaining emotional depth and creative precision. I don't know much about Dirty Projectors, but after hearing this project, I can tell they seem pretty cool. And then for the album itself, just a little context for you guys. Mount Wittenberg Orca is a collaborative album between Björk and Dirty Projectors released in 2010. The project began as an experimental live performance inspired by a conversation between Björk and Dirty Projectors frontman Dave Longstreth about encounters with whales off the California coast. The music combines Björk's ethereal, vocal-driven style with Dirty Projector's intricate harmonies and angular compositions, resulting in raw oceanic soundscape that feels both intimate and expansive. I agree. The album was recorded quickly and organically, capturing a sense of spontaneity and shared creative energy between two boundary-pushing artists. Yeah, absolutely. I would describe this album similarly. But yeah, there's some context for you guys. Artist album. I always feel like that's helpful for me. It usually can change my perception on how I see these artists or their music. So yeah. Anyways, now that that is clear, let's get into some conversation. Michael, I want to hear some of your first impressions about this album and what you think about it.
So I haven't really listened to Bjork that much. But after listening to this album, she's definitely an artist that I would want to like actively seek out to listen to. I really thought the first song on the album was cool. It definitely sets the tone for the rest of it. Um, that was probably one of my favorites on the album. Um, I thought Bjork's voice was really good.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I just liked how everything fit together and sounds.
Yeah, I would say it feels really cohesive in a really weird way.
Yeah.
Like I picked this album because I genuinely haven't heard any projects. Like I couldn't relate it to anything I've ever heard, so I thought it would be pretty cool to show. Um, yeah, I absolutely agree. That first song especially like sets the tone in a really interesting way. It's it's like kind of freaky.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's a little unsettling.
It feels cinematic.
It does. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It feels like a super long build up kind of.
Yeah.
Like a really like a it's kind of scary build up. Like maybe like a horror movie could use that. But it and then the next song is just like this joyous, like gleeful, little whimsical uh like atmosphere that we're kind of in for the rest of the album. Um and I think that's cool kind of to try and like figure out what they were going for with that because I find it interesting that it's all based on like these encounters they had
Yeah.
with an orca. I actually think it says here in one of my notes that it was specifically this encounter one of the girls in this band Dirty Projectors had with an orca. And then it kind of striked into this conversation where they all kind of had these moments that seemed very impactful for them, where they saw whales or orcas or something. Which I think that's really interesting. I don't know any uh, album that's kind of inspired by just like an animal sighting
Yeah.
or anything surrounding that, but maybe there's ones out there that I just don't know it's about that. I want to get into what the orca represents because I found some people talking about it, and personally I'm not the best at finding like symbolism in music very well. I'm more of a listener. I kind of almost blur out the lyrics and listen to more for the sounds and the feeling of it. But I'm wondering, did you get anything significant from this orca? I mean, I think it had a very oceanic sound, like they said. It feels kind of like music on the coast in a
Yeah.
weird way. But I didn't really get much out of like what the orca would represent or mean to them. But maybe I wasn't listening hard enough.
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out. I listened to it. I feel like the orca represents like the band member, like because it was an impactful event for them. I feel like it represents what they want from life. Kind of. I don't know. That's kind of what I took from it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, yeah. It does feel like whatever I could see that in the way that both Bjork and Dave Longstreth, like both of their vocals complemented each other so well, and they both kind of seem like their headspace was in a very similar area, despite like, you know, them being so different. It was like a lot more dramatic and hers was more like ethereal sounding, but it kind of seemed like two sides of that coin, like what we want from life, what we get from life kind of thing. But again, I'm not the best at pulling these themes
me
out of
neither.
albums. So yeah, that's just one take on it. So um I want to bring this up because I think this is super interesting. I also don't know an album or any project that's really done this. So it started out as a live performance for a charity, but also once they released this album a year later, I think it was in April or something, they all the proceeds from it went to uh, National Geographic like Ocean Foundation thing, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Especially because it just ties in with what the album's about and like the feeling of it. Um, I don't know. Do you know of any other projects that have like been dedicated to a certain cause or a certain, you know?
I can't name any off the top of my head, but it's really cool that they like donated to National Geographic and yeah.
Yeah, I think there's not too many artists out there that um are as big as Bjork is, and aren't in a more money for me headspace, you know.
Yeah.
I typically see artists at that level like get into a very uh you know business headspace about it all, and it kind of can soil their music. But you can definitely tell here that there is this shared idea that they want to go for and that they feel for and like fully express to try and you know match this feeling they have. And I think that's really cool. I love to see albums and just projects in general that um they're for the music. They're not for what they get out of publishing the music. That
Yeah.
always sucks when you can tell that they're kind of taking a corporate route with things. But definitely this album is fully itself, I would say.
Hmm.
um Another really interesting thing that I found in this album that I I can think of a few other albums like this Midair Thief one that I just listened to recently, where it doesn't have much percussion in it most of the way through, but when they bring in that percussion, it is heavy and it has a lot of emphasis, and it has like so much more meaning because they like held on to it or kept it quiet and then brought it in heavier later. I love that in this one. Especially because I noticed when they do bring in harder percussion, that Dave Longstreth guy, he comes in a lot on the percussion with his deep
Hmm.
like kind of angsty voice. I love that. Do you have any other albums you can think of that possibly stays away from this percussion to kind of make it more impactful when it does come in?
I don't know if I can name any off the top of my head. I know in Stone Temple Pilots, the drummer, like the drums, they're not like overpowering.
Yeah.
They're just like that perfect amount to where it's like you can hear it, but it's not like Nirvana where Dave Grohl's trying to destroy the drums.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, even like some I'm thinking of like some EDM albums where
Oh yeah.
they will like keep drums. This is more kind of within the building of a song rather than an entire project like this one, but they'll keep all those like really hard hitting percussion like out of the picture for like half the song or something, and then bring it in, and it's always so much harder.
Yeah.
Or like uh especially like with some bass, like some heavy bass, I love when that's brought in later and you get used to like a certain drum loop or something, and then
Hmm.
that just comes in real hard like halfway. That's always my favorite.
Yeah.
um yeah, do you think this album fits that oceanic feeling they were talking about? Because I get that sense like from so many different elements in this album.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I feel like it definitely has that oceanic vibe.
Yeah, there's a lot of like nature, like it feels like a kind of feels like a stroll on the coast, if I
Yeah,
would
it
say. Like
does.
it's like listen, not being in the ocean, but it's like looking at it. Or
Yeah.
makes me think of this when I went to San Francisco, and I was just I've never been on like the beach before. And so that was very, very like kind of inspiring. I never
Hmm.
seen anything like that, and I was just like kind of in awe. And there's so many noises, like the waves crashing, but also there's usually like heavy wind on the coast with all that open
Hmm.
area. I definitely feel like they hit those nature sounds very well in this whole thing. It was I I just don't even know how to explain it in the best way, because their vocals almost brought that out too.
Yeah.
Which is like, you know, they're very interesting vocals, but I can't even like put it into words how they make it feel. I think they sound wavy. Like
Hmm.
they kind of sound like, it comes like in and out and in and out, and it's like and they come in harder as it goes on. I think maybe that's where I'm getting like that feeling from, where their vocals sound oceanic as well.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm wondering, do you think that either one of these artists overpowered each other in this, or do you think there was a pretty good balance between them?
I think it was blended pretty well.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like one person's album over the other.
No, yeah, absolutely. It didn't. And I don't think either that like it feels like one person's head was in this for just the whole concept more.
Yeah.
Even though Dave Longstreth did write all the songs for this. I definitely can tell that there is like a very shared perspective on what this should be,
Mhm.
because I don't know how they would, you know, get this end result they have without that.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't work. I feel like it feels like a very very heavy team effort. Um, it it kind of makes me think though, like what would that process be like, um writing all these songs for, like, do you think he's writing Bjork's parts, or do you,
That's what I was wondering.
yeah, like,
Yeah, I don't
because I
know.
don't know how he would be able to even write the way she does
Yeah, I feel like
everything.
Bjork had a hand with her lyrics, but
Yeah,
yeah.
he definitely composed a lot of it. I think that's where a lot of his songwriting credits are coming from. Um and I do know that Dirty Projectors has another album called, I'm probably saying this wrong, but it's called Bit Orca, Bitte Orca, which I also think kind of dabbles in this experience they had with a whale sighting, which I
Mhm.
think is kind of funny that he was multiple projects about, you know,
Yeah.
seeing a whale. Maybe that one's not about the actual experience of seeing it. Maybe it's just the orca is symbolic for some reason. But
Is it like a running theme throughout their music, or?
well, okay, so I haven't listened to anything from Dirty Projectors other than this. I just, when I was going through their page, I saw that and I was kind of confused. I was wondering why there was multiple projects of his on
Mhm.
an Orca, but who knows? I could figure that out. But yeah, they did a great job together. I think it was very cohesive, and they absolutely just bounced off each other perfectly.
Mhm.
Um, so, do you think this is an album that would age well or age bad? Because it feels kind of timeless, in my opinion.
Yeah, it came out like what, 15 years ago?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
2010, that doesn't feel like
Yeah, it
15
still
years.
sounds really good. Yeah. I think it's timeless as well, yeah.
Yeah, I think part of it is the fact that I can't compare it to anything, so
Yeah.
there's not really like a sphere they're in where it'd be like an oversaturated sound in that, soundscape.
Mhm.
It just wouldn't. That if I could relate it to like a bunch of different projects, I'd be like, I've heard this before, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
It's nothing new to me. That's usually when something can like age bad.
Yeah.
Um,
I was thinking about like the orca theme and everything. Would you say this is like a concept album?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This is totally a concept album, because I mean, especially after learning that it is around like this shared experience they
Mhm.
have, like, and I always don't know where to draw that line between where it's a concept and where it's just an album, but this one, this theme was running through every single song. And part of that is just like the continuous like harmonizing that they were doing. Just um they're like aiming for specific themes, specific sounds, specific harmonies,
Yeah.
specific like everything. It felt everything feels very intentional in this album. Usually, like, I think, yeah, the more intentionality, the more it leans into a concept. Um, but there's also been albums I've listened to where it's like there's definitely a theme here that they want to push, but it doesn't feel like it's pushing every song. Only some of them. I see that a lot in hip hop,
Yeah.
where there'll just be like, they're touching on something, but they kind of get like not off topic, but off concept a little bit
Yeah.
in the sound. A lot of times, I think it can, an album can be driven, like a concept album could be totally driven by what the lyrics are saying, but I think that it's so much more conceptual to me, it's when that concept is fully in the sound and everything
Yeah.
and every part of it. That's when you can really tell. And I think Bjork, is also just kind of mastered this.
Mhm.
Everything I've heard from her, all the albums I have heard, all feel very conceptual. There is a very specific idea, very personal to her, and a lot of
Yeah.
times that I can't pick up, but it's there, and I can tell it's driving what's making everything sound the way it does.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, on that topic, do you think this is do you think this could be labeled as experimental?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I believe it does lean more into that experimental side for one of the facts that it's just not like much of anything else ever, but also
I feel like that's part of Bjork's influence.
oh yeah, absolutely. She's like totally in that like avant-garde, like
Yeah.
art pop sphere, where it's like really everything's pretty different from each other. But yeah, I think one of the most experimental things on this album had to be the way they were doing their vocals.
Yeah.
That's what makes this so distinct for me is that I really want to find other projects where it is not just like so many harmonies. It's this really deep angsty voice with this really like high falsetto like that
Yeah.
whimsical feeling. It's just like a crazy contrast that works really well all the
Mm-hmm.
way through. Yeah, it and I love that too because it makes me think of the "Baby It's Cold Outside" song with
Oh,
the girl
yeah.
and the guy
Yeah.
singing on it. Like it kind of made me just start thinking about how much I love like a man like male deeper voice and just like a falsetto female voice
Yeah.
in any music. Like that'll catch me every time. So all the way through for every song except I guess the first one I don't think they were both on it. But yeah, that was really that was really nice in my ears.
That reminded me of I forgot the band that does it, but there's this singer who dresses up as a clown. His name's like Mr. Piddle's Pity Party or something.
I know what you're talking about.
And he did a cover of Mad World with
Yeah.
him in like a female voice, and it was really good.
that that sounds fire.
Yeah.
I remember learning. I think I watched. Um, oh, what is it? Donnie Darko. In Donnie Darko,
yes.
they have Tears for Fears "Mad World," which that's when I first realized it was like their song.
Mhm.
Like I always thought it was that. The other one you always
Yeah.
hear.
I could talk about the movie for hours. It's so
Oh
good.
yeah, I love that movie. Yeah, you could probably somehow fit that first song into that movie somehow.
Mhm.
That's that's a that's another experimental movie in my opinion. It feels very. I remember watching that with my dad and having to pull up a YouTube video after, like, what did we just watch?
Honestly, I feel like it's one of my comfort movies because like I love everything about it. I love the actors, I love the music, the story.
Yeah,
It's just so good.
it's awesome. But a comfort movie, ooh, that one's freaking me out. I don't know if that comforts me. It it gets you thinking and it gets you wanting to watch it again too.
Yeah.
Same thing for this album. I absolutely gave it another whole listen all the way through after my first listen because I was like, what did I just hear? Like that was something new that I don't think I fully grasped
Yeah.
the first time. The first time I was actually like in between like really loving it but also like confused like what am I listening to? What did I just come across? I think
Yeah.
part of that was I only heard a little bit of Bjork and all of her music to me is very like whoa when you first listen to
Yeah.
it. Like that this is new. Do you think that this has a specific genre to it or is experimental kind of the easier way to label this?
Honestly, I think experimental is the easier way to label it. I couldn't like I was listening to it and I was trying to figure out what kind of genre I'd put this in and I just couldn't. So I feel like experimental would be the best one.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like trying to like if acapella is kind of a genre, then I guess you could say that because it is heavily acapella. A lot of
Mhm.
it, like, a lot of the songs that are softer, the vocals are like fully over the tracks. Like sometimes you can't. It felt like I couldn't even hear the track, or
Yeah.
I think maybe my ears just focus more on the vocals. But
Mhm.
yeah, I absolutely agree. But the acapella in this, it was so cool.
It was,
It
yeah.
is it is awesome. It is like uh it's like bouncy. I don't even know how to describe
Yeah.
it feels kind of bouncy, and like and they like transition into each other really well.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's the same thing with the percussion. It's kind of like having the lyrics with softer instrumentals. When those instrumentals do come up, again, it like makes it very, very heavy hitting for you.
Yeah.
Um, so we are running out of time, but I do want to go over our favorite songs from this album and what we would rate it. And I would say let's rate 1 out of 10. Um, and let's try and like no, yeah, just 1 out of 10. How it is as an album compared to other things you've listened to in the experimental sphere, I guess.
Yeah.
Or just personal. I don't know. Um, would you like to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I had a favorite song. I liked all of them. I guess the first one, because I liked how cinematic it felt, and it definitely got me hooked. Like I wanted to listen to the rest of the album.
Yeah.
Like I was looking forward to see what was gonna go on. I'd probably give it like an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, yeah, I was assuming yours would be that first one because of what you said earlier. That one, I would say that's probably like most people, I would say that would listen to this would probably pick one of the more whimsical ones because
Yeah.
that one's a lot different than the rest. But I do really like it. I think it's kind of underrated in a way, or maybe like looked over
Mhm.
after listening to it because one, it is the first, and two, it is so much different. But yeah, I think that was like a great introduction into the whole thing.
Definitely.
It really like intrigues you even if it's weird. And then when that second song comes in, you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
this is where we're at. Um, Personally, No Embrace was my favorite song from this. That is the first one I actually heard from this project, and it got me listening to it. Um, because it feels just like it it feels so joyful in the weirdest way ever. I would give this project a yeah. I I don't want to be that guy, but an 8.5 out of 10 because it genuinely it's not like it doesn't have insane replayability for me, which I don't think that's like totally something, especially when we're listening to experimental stuff, that I should like care about too much because I don't think that's what they're going for.
Yeah, and especially with concept albums, like I've listened to a bunch of them, and some of them I can only play like once.
Yeah.
There's songs I'll replay, but like I can't listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, and they're like amazing. Like there
Yeah.
can be amazing ones, but I don't need to listen to this again.
Yeah,
at
like
least
once
two.
was enough.
Yeah. Then you save it for later, like after watching a good show. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to watch it again. I want to give me some fresh space or like a movie or something. Yeah, 8.5 out of 10. It was. There's so many new fit elements I've heard that I've never seen people like, um, like approach in the way that they did. When it comes to the vocals, especially, I think that was my highlight here. But also just like the whole feeling of it, that oceanic feeling,
Mhm.
definitely brings like a certain kind of warmth when I listen to it that I very much enjoy. But yeah, that was Mount Wittenberg Orca by Björk and Dirty Projectors. That will be the end of the episode today. We will be back in the next one with a Fishman's album, Kuchu Camp, I think is how you pronounce it. Might be butchering that, but catch us in that episode. Thank you guys for watching / listening. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.